Time for the finals.
Yeah, so from 12 weeks to this, Evan Robinson on Hollow One against Rick Paterson on Bridgevine.
How many players did we start this one off with, Diggs?
49.
49? No,
Yeah,
I was one of them and I did garbage.
So pretty classic tournament. And of course a pretty grueling tournament as well, especially for players that have to travel. But these two obviously showing their skills getting the whole way through and then through to the finals today. Both on graveyard-based decks. So it will be interesting to see which is the fastest. And
I noticed both running Leyline of the Void.
Yeah, so in the board we have Leyline of the Void from each players. And most likely knowing that, probably far too many cards to take out and few too many to bring in. So
sideboarding for this is going to be a nightmare. I had a quick look at the deck list beforehand.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the trimming is.
Yeah, as before, I haven't actually seen this match yet, so it could be a spicy one.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get into it.
Let's go. So who's on the play for this one?
So I believe Evan will be on the play for this game, which could be a huge turn for this. I'm not too sure if this is a sort of matchup where it really depends on who is on the play. But my guess would be yes.
Oh, absolutely the play matters in this.
Especially seeing how explosive they can be.
Because really, it's going to be who goes the most 8 fastest is who wins this match.
Yeah. You haven't got that wrong. But yeah, congrats to these two for making it through. I know Rick played 12 different decks. 11 different decks in his 12 weeks.
11 decks.
Which is pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
Humans twice. So shout outs to Humans from Rick, of course. But
what was his Swiss record?
Ooh, that is an interesting question, and I should know. So it looks like both players here happy with their 7s. Evan having a last think about it, but here he goes for a fetch land.
We're away.
He does have 2 straight rates in hand and a hollow one, so...
if he can find one more discard outlet...
Yeah, this could be a pretty quick hollow one coming out. So these two players, of course, coming through all 12 rounds of the finals... of the
Swiss.
The Swiss, and they're making it to finals.
And the 2 rounds of the finals.
Yeah, exactly. Quarters, semis, finals. Which, congrats to them. Evan going 10-1-1 in the Swiss. Rick going 10-2.
Ooh.
So pretty close overall. Here's a streak rate from Evan, so going down to 15.
Is there going to be another one?
Looks like it's down to 13 now.
13.
Here's a Faithless Looting.
And that's a Hollow Boy. And Rick just checking it is a Faithless Looting. That's the IDW promo. Getting rid of a Phoenix and a Gobby Law.
And there's exactly what the deck wants to do. So a turn 1 Hollow one from Evan, which...
Exactly what it wants to do is 3 more Hollow ones.
Yeah, definitely. Sadly, Vengevine, a pretty awesome way to get rid of Hollow one. Which Rick is most likely trying to get out as fast as he can. But...
not with an opener like that, he's not there.
Yeah, definitely. 2/2 zombies are pretty good as blocking as well, so we'll see what Rick gets to discard here. Hopefully a bridge included in the 2.
Well, he's making us wait for it. Looks like they're talking to Judge.
Yeah, so Rick having a good think here. A Bloodghast in hand, so I think that's a pretty obvious card you want to get to your graveyard pretty quickly. Even though you can cast it on turn 2, it's most likely going to be coming from the graveyard.
And what's it going to be? Well, he thought about it, he's hesitating. Damn it, Rick, people are viewing. Get to business. We'll stick a little sponge on 3 hours later bit in here.
So obviously no faith in this looting from Rick. Perhaps even a judge call is happening right now.
Yeah, it looks like he was talking to Barney a moment ago.
And there we have it. So 2 Vengevines.
Yep.
Pretty great start from Rick because we know that he does have 1 Bloodghast in hand. So something like a Ballista or Hangerback Walker for 0 could get these Vengevines into play and attacking Evan as early as next turn.
There we go, in for 6.
Yeah, so Evan as well putting on a clock here. Perhaps even a situation where Rick has to start thinking about leaving blockers back.
Not at this rate. With that opener from Evan, Rick's a turn ahead, so he's fine. If they just keep on cracking back and forth, if he gets those 2 Vengevines down this turn, oh, and he misses that Walking Ballista.
Yeah, he does get a Bloodghast into the bin, which is quite nice. But he might even have a second creature to follow this up.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. He wants to pick up the Walking Ballista or similar for his second creature to bring in those 2 Vengevines.
Yeah,
and if he does that this turn, he hits in for 8. Evan's down to 5.
Yeah, which is pretty brutal.
So you can absolutely afford to be the aggressor here.
Yeah, that turn 1 Hollow One did not come cheap, especially when Rick is going to be pressuring his life total pretty quickly if he does get to drop another creature here. So there's a
there it
for
is.
0.
Yep.
And Vengevines coming swinging.
Down 5. And so now it's Evan who's got to hold back.
Yeah, definitely. So I believe he does have a Collective Brutality in hand, but the neg 2 here doesn't seem to be too effective. Hitting the Stitcher would probably...
Hitting the Stitcher is too little.
Yeah, give Rick the advantage of having 3 more cards in the graveyard. It doesn't kill a Vengevine, and the Bloodghast comes back next turn with haste if Rick does have a land, so... perhaps it's a case of just building out your board and trying to get some actual blocks happening.
I almost like the Goblin Lord there just to see if you can draw into a Hollow One.
Yeah, definitely.
It's slim, but everything you do here has got to be slim.
Yeah, definitely. Or something like a second land and a Gomag Angler. Gomag as a 5/5 is actually quite hard for Rick to deal with. It does wall Vengevines really well, and there's not too many cards that can actually get rid of it, other than something like a surged group of Vengevines coming in.
Mm. So Flame Blade.
There's a Flame Blade Adept, and here's Brutality.
He's going to Brutality. Probably just for life total and to get rid of the... I mean... There's a chance that Rick doesn't have a land in hand, so that does hold him off for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not fantastic, but it's what he's got to do. Most importantly, putting him up to 7 there. And he's just looking for a lightning bolt or anything like that, just to deal that last 3 points through the Flameblade Adept.
So fetch land in hand, so he definitely has Bloodghast online this turn. It's just a case if he wants to try and do anything beforehand, maybe even to get that other Bloodghast. But this is looking pretty good, so he has to play Bloodghast, get back a Bloodghast.
That's it.
And that's going to be lethal. So Rick takes this down in pretty quick fashion for game 1. Evan, they're getting a turn 1 Hollow One, which is great, but Evan just... Sorry, Rick
but
just
at what
too
cost?
fast. Yeah, exactly. So Rick's going to be pretty happy with that, but... yeah, Evan just had to get a little bit more... advantage through his big creatures like Hollow Ones and Gomags, but didn't get there.
Oh well.
Really interesting decks, both really coming out.
Both relatively new as well.
Yeah, it's a modern for sure. Modern really turning towards the graveyard, especially with these two decks, and just showing the complete power of cards like Vengevine that really haven't had that much of a home in Modern.
And did you see the results that Dredge put up last weekend?
Yeah, huge amounts. Actually playing that new card that if it goes from your library into your graveyard...
The Lightning Helix, the not Helix one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to find the name of it, but...
there it is on the screen there.
Yeah, it looks like an amazing card, especially because it can't be counted. I think that's the big thing. It's not even if this card would be put into your library, into your graveyard from your library, you can cast it for 0, or you can cast it without paying its mana cost. It's just a simple trigger.
So you need to stifle it, or while we're in Modern, you need to trick bind it, or void slime it.
Yeah, definitely, or Nimble Obstructionist.
Squelch it.
Or Squelch it, yeah.
Squelch! There's a card you don't see too often.
But yeah, two obviously powerful decks that a lot of the meta really needs to shift towards and actually sideboard for quite aggressively, or else
definitely.
a lot of your hate might be a bit too late. Especially if you're on the play against it and you have something like a Rest in Peace, a turn 2 or turn 3 Rest in Peace just might not be enough. Especially once they've got the damage out. And a few Vengevines or zombies in play.
We're back for game 2.
Rick looking happy with his 7. Evan having a good look.
And he's not happy with the 7.
Yeah,
he's not happy.
Which...
It's not a position you want to be in a game down in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for a deck like Hollow One where you do... I'm not too sure how well it mulligans.
Not great.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. It's not Storm. But it definitely needs to think twice before mulliganing.
Yeah. Oh, and Evan there putting a Stomping Ground into his deck. Obviously this way, the legal way.
Yeah.
Wanting to present Rick with a legal deck.
No, after last weekend and Mr. Lifetime ban.
Yeah, not great, but...
Guys, don't cheat at Magic. Especially when you're on video.
Yeah, pretty good league overall. I thought all the players really conducted themselves well, especially for a league where you have to meet up with your opponents within a 2-week period and actually play it.
That does make things a bit more difficult, not having that commitment to turn up at a certain time. You get into arguments about who's more convenient time you turn up at.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But people definitely conducted themselves the right way and made a good effort to get out to their matches.
Yeah, which is great to see. So it looks like double Goblin Law, Land, and Collective Brutality left for Evan. So not the worst 6, but not too explosive either. Obviously wanting to draw into some pretty good threats with these Goblin Laws. Perhaps even getting off a cheeky Hollow One for free.
Yeah. Never turn out a free 4/4.
I am a fan of the old Thought Sees You with a Loxodon Smiter in hand.
Hey!
So Rick here with what I believe is a Faithless Looting. Drawing 2. There's a Ballista and a land.
So he's got game next turn. What has he got to discard though? That'll do just fine.
A Bridge and a Bloodghast is pretty good. It'll be interesting to see if we see this Ballista now, which we will. Double Ballista means it is time to block that Menace creature, which is pretty good. But I think Rick will actually be happy, perhaps just not blocking and starting to attack down with these zombies.
Yeah, just to make the aggressive play there. It's probably a lot better if Evan starts to pump out his discard spells, he'll run out of gas.
Yeah, definitely, exactly.
But he'll have more threats to show for it,
yep.
As opposed to Rick losing his 2 zombies.
Exactly. So there's a Goblin Law with a Hollow One in hand, and it looks like he hasn't picked up another in a Land, an Adept, a Burning Inquiry, and a Bloodghast. So here it comes. Actually, our first Goblin Law of the match.
Yes.
So this will be interesting to see what Rick picks. They're rolling dice.
Oh, that's not good. That's very not random. You got rid of one of the hollow ones.
And sadly, I believe that was the only hollow one for Evan. So
it feels bad.
He's going to swing in with this Adept, and then most likely just pass turn. It is the risk of playing a deck like Hollow One.
Yeah.
especially with randomized discard in your deck. But obviously, the upside is just far better than the downside.
Oh, it's a calculated risk. There was a really good article on Channel Fireball shortly after the deck came out, actually, which Toby will be kind enough to link in the description.
Oh, brilliant.
Hopefully. Yeah, it was about... I think it was by PV DDR,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. And it was about upping your game and how to calculate the risk of certain plays and how to take those risks
Interesting.
and seeing how well they pay off for you. But so I've probably got the author wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it was CFB. Either way, it's in the description. Please, Toby.
Perfect. So it looks like Rick is getting a 2/2 from that Insolent Neonate and discarding the Verdant Catacombs.
Which means he's got to have another land in hand because he's got those Bloodghasts. That Bloodghast in the bin.
He does have a Blackleaf Cliffs at the front of his hand.
Perfect.
So here is a Stitcher. And it looks like a Bushwhacker in hand. So next turn he's pretty much setting up for
It
lethal.
looks like a missed trigger is what it looks like. Oh, no, he's seen it. Attaboy, Rick.
There we go. So of course, the game state not really being too
Yeah, it's not
too hurt by missing that trigger. So he's gone back to it, which is fine.
Oh, no, it's fine. He could have tapped it. Yeah, that's still legal. But he's thinking twice about what he wants to do there and maybe not just slamming that Stitcher Servant.
So he's going for the Gargadon, which
I
is
like the Gargadon play here.
just still on Rick's mind about what he wants to do.
Nothing. Nothing at all. Rick says it best when he says nothing at all.
Yeah, I think he just actually asked for how many cards in hand. And now he's attacking in for 4, of course. And here's the Gargadon.
Yep. Oh, I was very wrong in that other match we watched about Gargadon as a sack outlet. I didn't realise... Well, I completely forgot about the sack outlet on there. It was just sort of the back of my mind. I didn't realise how well it interacted with everything in this deck.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, especially in response to something like a Supreme Verdict against control decks.
So that would have been what Rick was thinking about before. Maybe he wanted to hold on to the Gargadon until a little bit later, but he was worried about hitting another Burning Inquiry.
Yeah, that's very true, which is a great reason to play it.
Yep.
Of course, in a zone right now that Evan cannot interact with. I don't see waste.
Oh!
So there is a
double hollow one.
Yeah, 2 hollow ones in the bin. So that's 3 hollow ones in the bin now. Leaving Evan with, again, not much in hand other than another Adept.
Oh, I got a feel for the guy there. That's horrible.
He's going to go for another
He's going to try again. Well, there's another hollow one.
Which is going to be rough, because if Rick hits another bridge, then sacking this Bloodghast to the Greater Gargadon is going to give him an additional 2/2. And with that Goblin Bushwhacker, it's not a Bushwhacker, it's a... the Goblin in hand that he plays gives creatures +1/+0. I believe it's called...
Not Bushwhacker.
There we go, it's on the screen for us.
But there you go.
Which is great.
I love not being the editor of these.
But... yeah, not looking good for Evan right now.
Yeah, I'm calling this one for Rick pretty easily.
So it looks like Evan was just doing the math that on the swing back he wouldn't lose. So all 4 hollow ones actually in the bin.
Oh, I feel
Which is
bad.
pretty rough for Evan. Not one getting onto the battlefield in this game. Of course, not something you want for a deck that's
no
named
justice.
after it. So it looks like end of turn, Rick sacking this. Blocking with a zombie and the Bloodghast, and then sacking it before damage, it doesn't actually look like he gets the zombie from that. So Rick's still with all the pressure. Neonate from Rick, discarding the Vengevine, drawing a card, playing a land, getting back the Bloodghast.
And then with Fetch being able to get it back again if he really wants to.
Yeah, and there's a second creature for Rick, so back comes the Vengevine, and it's going to be a swing for 8.
Oh.
And then next turn it is looking pretty lethal with this Greater Garganon. Rick being able to pretty much just get rid of all these creatures.
Do what he wants and get it straight back. Yeah, he's got lethal next turn. It's got to be something. It's got to be something huge here, or it's all over Red Rover. That's a Gomag Angler. I don't think that's going to be enough. It does stop Rick going
as a blocker as well. It does not do a lot.
It stops Rick going all in on the. Yep, fair enough. Stops Rick going all in on the Garganon.
Yeah, and there's the scoop from Evan. So to the sideboards we go. Rick up 2-0 with Dredgevine against Evan on Hollow One.
What can you do to get out of this? There's obviously the Leyline of the Void there.
Yeah, Leyline of the Void is the big one. Both players here getting deck lists from their opponents. So having full information is definitely a great help. But it will be interesting to see how both players sideboard with a lot of their main deck cards pretty much null and void to Leyline of the Void.
Yeah. What else would you bring in here?
That is a great question. I believe...
Dougal didn't print off deck lists for
I did not print off deck lists for this, which I should have, definitely. So Leyline of the Void is definitely the biggest.
So as he hurries to look them up on his phone now.
I'm not too sure what the big contenders to take out are.
I like one of your... On Evan's side, I like one of your random discard spells. Actually, probably taking out the Burning Inquiries here wouldn't be too bad a move. Because Rick benefits a lot as well from dumping his hand into his graveyard.
Yeah, that's very true. It does stop Evan getting the really fast starts, but I think with this sort of matchup...
He can afford... Actually, you might even need to play a little bit more conservatively on this one as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, Rick here looking to bring in both Lightning Axes.
Lightning Axes... Not bringing in Collective Brutality?
So it actually looks like a whole bunch of cards from Rick.
I counted 9.
Yeah, so I believe the 2 Collective Brutalities, the Dark Blast, are not coming in.
Oh, so is that 12 cards? Wow. So how are we going on this deck list, Diggs?
Yeah, so currently it looks like Rick is just skimming on cards. A few Bloodghasts coming out of the deck. And in... I don't believe the Ancient Grudges will.
No.
The 4 Leyline of the Void definitely
will.
The 2 Lightning Axe don't seem too bad. Especially a way to deal with a Hollow One or Angler.
There's a lot of big creatures there, a lot of X4s and X5s.
Yeah, definitely. I actually don't mind the Collective Brutalities either, especially if you do see your opponent play a turn 0 Leyline of the Void. It is an out to actually take advantage of cards that may be dead with your graveyard, not as a resource.
Only sorceries and instants though.
Oh, but you can discard cards to the Collective Brutality.
Oh yeah,
if they are just dead in any other capacity.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
The Dark Blast is interesting. There's not many cards that actually sort of benefit from this, especially as a hollowed one that has been Dark Blast would still kill a Vengevine.
And what about on the other side?
So from Evan, the Layla and the Voids are the main card. It's going to be interesting to see if players get to start the game with both ley lines in play, which would be some very fair magic. So players just checking on our Rick's deck list currently.
With the 12 card sideboard, they're definitely taking their time. I guess we'll be right back.
But yeah, Rick having pretty quick wins with his first 2 games. Evan not really getting time to stabilize and setting up a hollow one or trying to get... Definitely.
He had the inferior opening hands as well. There are plenty of scenarios in which Evan can easily win a game against Vengevine.
Yep.
But it's just a question of, and you're almost a combo deck with this sort of thing, who gets the combo first?
Definitely. I feel like Rick might have a little bit more to do at the graveyard if you don't hit your Vengevines. Unlike Evan, who has to rely on your Phoenixes and your Bloodghasts if you don't hit your Hollow Ones.
It's a much more linear aggro deck for certain values of linear aggro deck when you're looking at Vengevine versus Hollow One.
Yeah, definitely. I think Hollow One definitely makes the most of their graveyard, with Gomag really cleaning up anything that you don't really care about. But at the same time, Rick uses it in a whole different way where pretty much any card hidden there can be something for bridge or... being able to sack stuff to Greater Galganon straight away is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, Bridge from Below has just been an amazing card in every format where it's legal.
Yeah,
and in a slightly different way each time. I mean, I remember cracking packs of Future Sight 12 years ago. Gee, 12 years ago, Future Sight came out, and thinking, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
I mean, I was starting to see a little bit of value because there was those dredge cards as well, which again, what the hell is this? Which was generally a theme in the Future Sight set, but...
Definitely, because are there any cards like Bridge from Below that do nothing if you cast them?
I'd say half of the Affinity deck at the moment.
I guess it's in the... is it in the Null Rod category?
Darksteel Ingot, I suppose?
Yeah, that's very true.
It's indestructible?
Yeah. Did not think of Darksteel Ingot. That's actually...
But no, the intention of Darksteel Ingot, for what little intent there is for that card, is terrible. It's intended to be played on the battlefield, as opposed to Bridge from Below that only serves its purpose in the graveyard.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, even cards like Vigor and Anger and those, which they were designed to get your grave, Riftstone Portal.
Yeah.
They were designed to go into your grave, but they still did something on the battlefield instead of being a triple black nothing.
Exactly, yeah. You're not going to play in Mono Black Devotion.
Go Mono Black Devotion, boys, get there. But no, don't do that. It's an awful idea.
So it looks like players are getting started for Game 3 now. But not too sure who's favoured post-board.
I still like Rick in this match.
Still like Rick?
Yep. He's a cool guy and everything, but I also think he's going to win this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think Evan really has to fight, saying that he has to win all 3 games now.
Yeah.
Rick only needing 1.
I mean, we're post-board, but I think Rick's got more options post-board as well. I think Evan needed to pick up at least one of those 2 pre-board games in order to stand a chance here.
Yeah, Evan here with a Term 0 Leyline of the Void, which is nice. And Rick as well, so we do have a very fair match about to start.
Oh god, this changes everything. So what do you reckon now, Dix?
Well, actually, Evan has a pretty good hand for this with a Bloodghast and a Phoenix.
I think this actually puts it slightly back in Evan's favour.
Yeah, that's fair enough. One of the funniest things about this sort of matchup is that Bloodghast and Gravecrawler can't block.
Yeah.
So it's a case of beating him with your 2/1s without your opponent being able to do too much. So Evan drawing here and most likely just slamming this Bloodghast. Most likely saving the bolts for Vengevines, if not going for face. As it is really only one of his ways to deal with a Vengevine in play.
Yeah, but how's he going to get a Vengevine in play?
Get to 4 mana.
Does Rick have 2 green sources?
I believe he has 2 Stomping Grounds.
Yeah, he's got 2 sources of green in the deck, doesn't he?
And a few fetches.
Okay, so feasibly he can cast a Vengevine here, but let's face it, this is not what he wanted to be doing with his time.
No, definitely not.
And he's actually casting his double X spells as well.
Yeah, and actually Walking Ballista most likely being a very good card in this matchup.
Ballista's decent here.
Yeah, it's a great mana sink.
I mean, if you can get the 4th one out and pop the Bloodghast and then pump it up again and kill the Flamewake Phoenix, it's not terrible.
Yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, he's definitely not on the beatdown path at the moment.
Yeah, that's very true. So, both players playing the fair game or playing their 2-1s in passing. Or 2-2s in the Phoenix and 1-1 in the Walking Ballista. But there is a Stitcher. Which, of course, these cards are just going to exile straight away.
Straight into exile.
And that's a Goblin Bushwhacker kicked. So it looks like it'll be 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Ooh!
All creatures getting, I believe, haste and +1/+0.
11, 12, yep.
So
Evan's got to do something here.
Yeah, it might just have to be this bolt.
Onto one of the Bloodghasts is the biggest. Reduce that down to 9 damage.
Yeah, which is tough. Not going after this this Walking Ballista, which in fact could lead out to be more damage than that Bloodghast, but obviously just wanting to get the most value. And
he needs to preserve his life total right now, though.
Yeah, definitely. He does need cards that can actually block. There is a Looting, which is a nice start to try to meld this hand. A Brutality as well is really nice, especially with his extra lands in hand. It can pretty much gain him 4 life here by killing a creature and also draining Rick 4 life. All in again from Evan.
I mean, he can't block. I possibly would have held the Phoenix back there, but he can't block with his Bloodghast. He may as well swing with him.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see if Ricky actually wants to use the Ballista on a Bloodghast.
And what's Evan's follow-up play? It looks like a Collective Brutality and a Flameblade Adept in hand. So do you kill a creature and drain for 2, or do you put a blocker out?
I think you have to drain a creature.
He doesn't have the mana to do both, but if he uses the Collective Brutality, he can choose 2 modes, remove some of Rick's board presence, and swing the life total a bit back.
Yeah, that's very true. It's just tough for Rick as well, not knowing what's in hand. And it looks like he's pinging, so there goes the Ballista and there goes the Bloodghast. Rick taking 4. And I think you have to fire off this...
I like the Collective Brutality. Yeah.
And I do like escalating as well.
I'd escalate this.
Yeah.
It's a 4 life swing, and it gets rid of probably the Gravecrawler in this instance.
So Evan just doing the math here and seeing if anything off the top can actually kill him. Rick with land set up so that next turn he can't actually play a land and Vengevine because he does need double green. So it's probably nice for Evan in that manner to actually know that that's not a possibility.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the Collective Brutality here.
But Evan having a hard think about it. There is a lot on the line here.
The question is, does he escalate? It looks like he will. He's having to think about it, though.
And he does.
He does.
Most likely
So
killing the
Gravecrawler.
Gravecrawler.
No.
But actually going after the Stitcher, it looks like.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting.
I'm not sure I like that.
Is Stitcher a 1/1?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Whereas Gravecrawler has 2 power, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And it's a trigger on death, so... I mean, that's not going to make a difference. I mean, all of them are effectively vanilla creatures in this board state.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that if the trigger was relevant, then Evan might be trying to get some sort of additional information about what Rick brought in, if he does flip a card that isn't a main deck card, but... Yeah, Rick keeping back the Goblin on blocks.
I like that
We
play.
have an old school race here, so it looks like Evan on 4 and Rick at 2.
Well, Rick's on a lot more
So
cards
Rick-
in hand than Evan.
Yeah, but Rick really needs an answer to this this Phoenix in the air, or else he's going to die next turn.
And he's digging.
Looks like a blister for 1 was cast,
Ooh,
and that's too
that's
short. Wow.
Oh. Bloodgust on top as well.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully both those players remember their ley lines, but pretty exciting match, especially for a turn 0 ley line from both players. Something like that you wouldn't expect.
Definitely wouldn't expect that one, Diggs, and it's just a good to see both decks having to play fair, not just one or the other.
Yeah, definitely. It's very funny seeing the Bloodghasts and Gravecrawlers go at it against each other. I guess there's really no reason to keep them back, especially as they can't block.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely no reason not to at all. Well, no reason to, I should say. So would you change anything in your board having seen that match, or that game?
I don't think so. I think it's still pretty open for both players. There's not too much you can do with a turn 0 ley line, so you kind of just got to fair play beat yourself through it.
Yeah. And into game 4.
Yeah, it looks like a 4 or 5 land hand there from Evan, so going down to 6. Rick obviously looking pretty happy with his 7. Not sure if there's a ley line in there, but perhaps it's just a hand you can't pass back.
Yeah, there's some hands, even though you don't have your main hate card, you just can't turn them down.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
too good.
I actually think it's a trap for a lot of players who
And
have
Venge-
something like a ley line in hand.
And
to actually
Vengevine
keep
has a
them off
lot
them.
of them.
Yeah, they do, which is very fair enough. There's a ley line from Evan with a pretty average 1 lander, but I believe the ley line is just so good that he's going to keep it.
I mean, you can either keep an average 6 with a good hate card, or you can go down to 5. It's a
Yeah.
pretty easy keep there.
Definitely. So Evan with the ley line and Rick with no ley line. So I think the advantage bar has gone pretty heavily in Evan's favour for this match already, even though he mulliganed.
Yeah, I like the ley line here.
Especially with the turn 0 ley line, I think it may cause Rick to actually have his 7 turn into a hand that's pretty much mulligan, seeing that there are cards that might have just been turned off by this ley
Yeah,
line.
there are dead cards in hand there, definitely. What do we see there? Stitcher Service now just a 1/1 for 1.
Yeah, exactly. And that Vengevine is going to be pretty hard to get out.
So we're going to start prioritising the Stomping Grounds off his fetches, and he's just used one of them.
Yeah. But a turn 1 threat isn't anything to...
Well, turn 1 threat's just fine, but I'm not sure that's quite the first turn he wanted to have.
Yeah,
I saw a
exactly.
Faithful Saluting and Vengevine in hand right there, and he's missing out on all the value there.
Mm.
That is an untapped Blood Crypt. Into probably just a Jackley boy here.
So Rick on 19 currently and Evan on 17. This could just be a Faithful Saluting. And it looks like Evan's actually going to go just to 19 for this mountain. Which is quite interesting, especially with the Leyline and Void, Leyline of the Void in play. I'm not actually too scared of Rick having such a fast start where the shock is going to matter. So Evan with the luxury of actually being able to discard graveyard interactable cards and not have them exiled to a Leyline of the Void.
And using Faithless Looting for what it's supposed to be of card selection, as opposed to just dumping everything you need to be in your graveyard into your graveyard.
Yeah, like what Rick's doing here, which is two Vengevines into the bin, but of course the bin being exiled.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And it looks like a missed land drop as well, so
Ooh.
Rick there may be just looking for a second land.
Oh, that was a greedy keep as well. I think he was going to rely too much on that Faithless Looting to get him where he wants to be, but when he saw the Leyline come out...
Yeah, or the Stitcher. But Evan here happy to go for basics as well.
Honestly. Actually, no, Stitcher turn 1 and then turn 2 Faithless Looting into what you hope is another land. I like that. God, those mismatched lands hurt me. Oh, that's a...
So Evan taking off all pressure from Rick and probably hoping to hit something like another Faithless Looting.
No, he didn't choose the duress option. He only escalated once.
Which is actually fair enough. There's not many non-creature spells that you really care about.
Yeah, I mean, Faithless Looting here is nowhere near what it used to be without the Leyline.
Exactly.
I was right though. Post board with the Leylines, it's
definitely
in Evan's favour.
And I haven't seen an Inquiry yet, so perhaps the Inquiries were something to take out.
Yeah.
Rick shocking here down to 15.
Mm.
Actually, I believe down to 11 now after that Collective Brutality. So Goblin Lore is going to draw Evan a nice set of cards, and hopefully at the end of all of this we'll see a hollow one in play. Rick saying get rid of these three, and Evan saying that's more than fine because I'll play this hollow one for free.
Yep, there it goes.
And there's the scoop from Rick. So
we're going to a game 5 in the finals.
Yeah,
I
quick
like it.
game 4 and a game 5 coming up. So couldn't really write it better. Rick up 2 games, and now Evan fighting back.
Yeah, he's
bringing
definitely
him back
giving
to
it
2
a good
games.
go.
Well.
He's just having a quick look through to make sure there's nothing else worth taking out. But I think Rick might be happy with his sideboarding.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting in looking at the Hangerback Walkers being taken out, which makes a lot of sense if you're thinking of something like a Leyline of the Void is coming in.
He didn't expect it to come in games 3 and 4 though.
That's very true.
And honestly, I think Hangerback came out there just because something had to come out.
Yeah, that's fair enough as well.
And possibly even anticipating a small amount of artifact hate, which we know didn't come in.
Mm. So both players having a final look at their 60, just to make sure that there isn't that one card they want to take out to switch for a card they may need in the sideboard. But I think they'll both be pretty happy with what they played in games 3 and 4.
These are both fairly linear strategies here. I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of change.
Yeah, exactly. But it will be interesting to see if we get a Leyline, not just for one player, but for both again. To see
That was an amazing game.
some magic that Garfield intended. Which is just fair magic. Fair,
I'll be honest, I think that's probably close to what Garfield intended with those two out.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But yeah, interestingly enough, no blue cards in the final.
Yeah. Or white cards. I was actually surprised at how little blue-white control I saw over the course of the league.
Yeah, definitely. I actually believe overall there wasn't...
I faced it twice overall.
That much in the league.
First time I was on Affinity and died horribly. Second time I was on Boggles and died just as badly. Yeah, there were two of my 4 losses, I believe, were blue-white control.
Well, hope you had fun.
I did. It was alright. I had a good time. Thank you very much for organising, Diggs.
Oh, you're welcome. So actually, overall, we saw 21 blue-white control decks.
21. Okay.
Over the course of the 12 weeks. So these weren't players, of course, playing blue-white every week. But we did see players opt for blue-white control at least 21 times throughout the league.
Okay. So, out of how many data points is that? That's a lot of numbers. We'll calculate that later.
Interestingly enough, there was only one Hollow One deck throughout the league.
1.
Yeah.
That would have been Rick.
That's probably Rick, which is pretty funny. I believe Evan playing mainly Storm and Scapeshift for these games, but it is going to be Leyline turn 0 for both players in Game 5.
Oh wow, this feels like Evan's game then.
The Brisbane Modern League Finals. So Fetch Pass isn't the greatest for Rick. We do see a hollow one in Evan's hand, but it doesn't look like a very explosive start in regards to any sort of discard spell. So it's going to be a pass from him as well. And Evan down to 19 here with this end of turn fetch land.
Yep. And Rick's still deciding what he wants to go down to. He's considering a stomping ground there, maybe to think about hard casting that Vengevine.
Yeah, it's a play we haven't seen yet, but it could definitely be something that could swing the tide in this game.
In this double Leyline and Void game. I don't think it's going to be enough though. Lightning Bolt's a card.
Lightning Bolt is a card. So is Leyline the Void.
It's a hell of a lot better in this double Leyline and the Void matchup.
What's the interaction between a instant speed spell like Destructive Revelry and Leyline of the Void?
What about it? So, Destructive Revelry will destroy Leyline of the Void, it goes to the graveyard, and then, so it goes into exile, I should say, and then Destructive Revelry goes to the graveyard. It doesn't go to the graveyard until after it finishes resolving.
Okay, perfect.
It's the same with the old Abrupt Decay versus Rest in Peace, it's the exact same interaction.
Interesting.
So, Leyline of the Void sees itself as it goes to the graveyard, so the replacement effect is applied, and then it's no longer on the battlefield when it comes time for Destructive Revelry to go.
Okay, interesting. So what's the Overgrown Tomb from Rick? So one more green source away from actually being able to hardcast turn 4 Vengevines. But obviously a lot of thinking to do now with this Leyline out. Of course, a card that was on the battlefield after players have kept their 7, so you do have to expect it, but it is still going to hurt when you see it.
You don't expect to see it in 3 consecutive games, though.
That's very true. So a little bit of luck from both players. More so Evan having it all
in 3 of those games, and Rick only having it in the 2, definitely.
But here's your old turn 2 2-1, and Evan aggressively bolting.
Oh!
So doesn't want any of that.
Not completely sure I agree with that, but whatever it takes.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think he's the one with the advantage here, so maybe he should press that.
Yeah, of course. It'll be interesting which creatures do come into play for Evan's next turn, or if it is something like just a Collective Brutality, which I think he'd actually want to keep until he actually gets a few creatures on board to target. So there's just Bloodghast for himself for Rick to deal with. Of course, Rick's own Bloodghasts and Gravecrawlers not being answers because they cannot block.
But if he gets enough of them out, he can take advantage of the fact that Evan's Bloodghast can't block either.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, a Hollow One and a Collective Brutality out of Evan. Maybe if he just... Oh no, if he draws another card, escalates twice, that's still not enough to get the free Hollow One.
So there's a shock from Rick.
Going down to
16.
And that is a turn 4 Vengevine online, should he want to. And a beautiful choice of shocklands there as well from Rick. OG printings on both.
So it looks like a Gravecrawler and a Walking Blister for 1, which as well is a great turn 4 play as well, just keeping up for mana.
Yeah, definitely.
A Bolt in hand for Evan does mean he does have both of these threats handled, or at least one of them. Currently looking to see if Rick will actually trade the Walking Blister for the Bloodghast.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would here.
Yeah, especially when you most likely have the option of actually untapping and just ticking up the Walking Blister.
Exactly. Well, untapping, playing a land and then ticking up the Walking Blister, but yes, absolutely.
Exactly, so Rick taking it and going down to 14.
It is 17 plays 14 here in the final game.
land from Evan, and both a brutality and a bolt to deal with these two threats if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Rick anticipating something by playing around with his Gravecrawler.
Just getting ready to dump it in the bin.
Evan opting for the Walking Ballista, which
probably
is a fair choice.
Probably the better play there.
Yeah, there's a lot more potential in that Walking Ballista to become much more of a threat.
So what just happened? Oh, he's fetched. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so he's fetched down, and now he's actually just taking out the Gravecrawler. So a pretty great opening for Vengevine to come down, if able, from Rick.
Yeah, Rick's holding his hand at just the right angle so we can't see it. That's a fetch. He's got the 4 mana.
Fetch land.
Which I'm a fan of just a basic here. Evidently less so than Rick.
Yeah, he might not even have more than one basic. I assume he would.
Okay. The other one with the deck lists.
That's going to be a Ballista for 2.
That's a Ballista for 2 though.
Still a great play.
Still good. With so many of... Actually, it's not really just Bloodgust. It's an X1 on Evan's side. It's still a 2-2 beater.
Yeah, exactly.
Potentially 3-3. There's a 3-3 beater.
There it is, so...
Just on the beatdown plan.
Yeah, Evan, I believe, down to 11. And there's a hollow one, Hardcast. Not something you see every day, but...
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. A great blocker for this Walking Ballista. But at the same time, Evan can just tick it up each turn and get it to a 6-6. Rick, sorry.
Yeah.
Something like a Vengevine off the top would be pretty great as well. Giving it up for the trade for Evan with his hollow one.
Which he's almost got to take at this stage of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
it's been on the Ballista. Which next turn, Rick will actually be able to kill both.
There you go.
Oh wow, he's taken 2 off each.
Yeah, that's a much better play. Because,
Oh wait, no, that doesn't work because one was on 3 and one was on 2.
So
if you want to kill it, you have to kill one of the Walking Ballistas.
I don't like that take back there, but he's chosen just to do that. That's fine.
Yeah, so it looks like Rick's seen what he's done, and
yeah. So he's effectively just removed an extra counter, which is fine.
However, I do like waiting the turn and getting it to a stage where you do get to keep both ballistas.
I do like that more.
I don't think there's really too much of a race from Evan's side where...
But this is the finals of... I don't know quite how you ran this, and obviously I wasn't there, but I'm assuming this is being run at competitive rel.
Yep.
So you can't take his playback, so he's got to make the best of a bad situation there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm assuming it was because it was pretty much an illegal play if you're keeping both Walking Ballistas on board.
Well, it's not an illegal play. You can do 3 damage to the hollow one and just...
Oh, that's very true, yeah.
Let it recover. Definitely, if I were Evan in that instance, I would not mind at all. But Rick's obviously done what should be done there and just removed 1 extra counter to remove it. But Rick casting the extra hollow one, the extra Walking Ballista is the correct way there because you get 1 counter per 2 mana instead of the 1 counter per 4.
Exactly.
And now he's just in a position to build it back up again now that he's got a clear board.
Yeah, so Street Wraith, Blood Crypt going to the bin, and Phoenix going onto the yard, but most likely going to be taken care of with this Walking Ballista in the following turn.
Yeah, Rick can afford to take his time here. I'd pump it up, swing in for 3, and then remove 2.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect play.
Which is...
And we see it.
Well, we've seen half of it. 2/3 of it.
So Evan down to 8, and Rick currently on 9. There's a Goblin Law.
Goblin Law.
No cards in hand. Bloodghast Swamp, Hollow One, Flameblade Adept.
1 in 4 1 in 4 chance of a hollow one here.
Will he be able to get the Hollow One?
Let's see it.
We will see. So Rick choosing which card to stay in hand. It's going to be that card, and he's going to slow roll. Flameblade Adept, Swamp.
Hey!
Bloodghast, so the Hollow One gets gets in, and Now Rick has to really think about if he wants to use his
Oh, that's savage.
his walking ballista on this Phoenix or keep them around to take care of this hollow one.
You've got to do something about the Phoenix. I mean, either of those will kill you in enough time.
Yeah, exactly.
He's down to 7.
So Rick drawing for turn.
But I wish you kept those hangerback walkers in now. The Gargadon.
So there's a Gargadon late to the party, but
Oh, I'm not sure I like it here.
still something nevertheless.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing, but he doesn't have his sack ending going.
Yeah, exactly, which is pretty rough. But
There's that Stitcher as well.
here's another Stitcher, so
Hey,
it's a nice chump blocker
It's
at
a
least.
blocker. That's just fine.
I wonder if it does come to it, can Greater Gargadon sacrifice enchantments?
That's a very good question, and I'm going to now look at the Oracle text on Greater Gargadon.
I feel like it stays away from planeswalkers and enchantments and only works for creatures, lands, and artifacts. But I could be wrong. And here's Evan actually coming in with both creatures.
Artifact, creature, or land.
Okay, so
Yep,
Playland,
gets
of
that one.
course, not interacting with Greater Gargadon, but I don't think there's really a case where you want to other than if you're attacking for lethal.
Nah.
Rick here actually dealing with the Phoenix with his Walking Ballista and then just chump blocking
And
the
sacking
hollow
that.
one and stacking, which is quite nice.
Ooh.
There's a bolt on the Ballista. Which I think Evan is actually figuring out where he wants to put it. Which, assuming there's not much damage on that hollow one, I think it just goes to the face. But he could also sack it to Greater Gargadon, which it looks like he does.
Okay. Interesting.
So this Gargadon will go down to 7.
That's
and
gonna be
Rick does
too
currently
slow.
have 5 permanents. So if he has 2 more permanents to put into play, this Gargadon could come down as early as, well, Evan's turn.
What is Evan's life total at the moment?
Wow,
Ooh,
there's a Ballista.
that's a good choice there.
Ballista just a house in this fair matchup.
Oh, certainly.
Looks like a land from Rick. Sorry, from Evan.
And so he can block here, ping for 1, and then sack to the Gargadon if he wants to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Evan down at 7 now as well, so that Gargadon's going to be lethal, and I think Rick is representing that right now by saying
Yep.
that if I sack all my permanents, I can swing at you next turn for lethal unless you have a blocker.
That's it.
And he doesn't, so
Gets in with Gargadon.
Rick with Bridgevine takes down the Brisbane Modern League 3-2 against Evan on Hollow One.
No, so there's some really good plays there. I mean, Rick seeing that he's close enough to his Gargadon that he'd rather make that sack rather than the more obvious play of the 1 damage there.
Yeah,
In
definitely.
2 separate instances, has actually won him the whole tournament.
Yeah, which coming down to the turns with the Hollow One in play, it can actually be a pretty big, pretty big play.
Yeah, well, congratulations to Rick and to Evan as well for making the finals of the Modern League.
Yeah, exactly. And of course to everyone else for making the top 8, and to everyone that played in the event. I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah, I certainly did, Diggs.
Yeah, might even be one back next year.
Yeah, and that's it from us here at the moment, so we'll catch you for the next event.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.